The Thames Torso Murders, a true story of Victorian London's grisly enigma. In the late 1880s, as Jack the Ripper haunted London's East End, another killer prowled the city, dismembering women and scattering their remains along the River Thames and its surrounding slums. Known as the Thames Torso Murders, this series of at least 4 killings between 1887 and 1889 involved victims, likely prostitutes, whose torsos, limbs, and heads were found in barrels, sacks, or floating in the river. The surgical precision and lack of identifying clues baffled Scotland Yard, and no suspect was ever charged, leaving a mystery that rivals the Ripper's in its gruesome shadow. Who was this butcher of Victorian London, and why did their crimes fade into obscurity? The Thames Torso Murders are a chilling puzzle, a bloody footnote in the city's darkest era. The horror began in May 1887, when a sack containing a woman's torso, arms, and thighs was pulled from the Thames near Rainham, Essex. The head and lower legs were never found, and the victim, estimated to be 25-35, remained unidentified. Her body was expertly disarticulated, with clean cuts suggesting medical or butchery skills. No fingerprints or DNA existed in the 1880s, and the river's currents erased other clues. Police assumed she was a prostitute, common in London's docklands, but had no leads. On September 11, 1888, amid the Ripper's spree, a woman's torso and arms were found in a Westminster construction site near the Thames, dubbed the Whitehall Mystery. The head was missing, and the body, wrapped in burlap, showed similar precise cuts. In June 1889, Elizabeth Jackson, a 24-year-old prostitute, was identified as the third victim after her torso, legs, and arms washed up in Battersea and Chelsea. Her head was gone, but clothing scraps confirmed her identity. The final case, in September 1889, involved a torso found under a railway arch in Pinchin Street, Whitechapel, again headless and expertly severed. Scotland Yard, stretched by the Ripper case, struggled with the torso murders. The victims, all women, were dismembered post-mortem, with no signs of torture but clear sexual assault in some cases. The killer used heavy knives or saws, and dump sites, rivers, alleys, or public spaces suggested boldness. The Thames, a bustling artery, hid evidence in its tides, and the city's slums offered anonymity. Unlike the Ripper, who left bodies intact, this killer's dismemberment thwarted identification, leaving most victims as Jane does. Suspects were plentiful but unproven. George Chapman, a barber surgeon and later poisoner, was in London and had anatomical knowledge, but no evidence linked him. Michael Ostrog, a conman with a violent streak, was investigated but cleared by alibis. Some theorized a doctor or slaughterhouse worker, given the cuts, while others suspected a Ripper copycat or even the Ripper himself, though the methods differed. Jack slashed throats, not torsos. A 1889 report suggested a maniac with surgical training, but no one was arrested. The case's grisly details deepen its terror. The killer removed heads and hands to prevent identification, a tactic rare for the era. Bones were stripped of flesh, suggesting a workspace, a cellar or shed, where dismemberment took hours. The Whitehall torso was buried in a vault, implying the killer scouted sites. Jackson's remains, scattered over miles, showed the killer used the Thames strategically, likely by boat. No blood was found at dump sites, meaning kills occurred elsewhere, possibly a private lair. Systemic issues doomed the investigation. Victorian police lacked forensic tools, relying on visual autopsies. The Thames washed away clues, and London's transient population, prostitutes, sailors, vagrants, made missing persons hard to track. Class bias dismissed victims as fallen women, limiting public outcry. Scotland Yard's focus on the Ripper diverted resources, and the press, obsessed with Whitechapel, gave the torso cases less ink. Evidence, like burlap or tools, was lost or untested. Theories range from a lone sadist to a professional, possibly a surgeon or mortician, hiding in London's medical underworld. Some link the murders to earlier 1870s torso cases, suggesting a decades-long killer, but no evidence connects them. Others propose a gang, as moving heavy remains alone seems unlikely. The killings stopped after 1889, possibly due to the killer's death, arrest for another crime, or emigration. America reported similar cases in the 1890s. The Thames torso murders reshaped London's underbelly. Prostitutes avoided riverfronts, and dockworkers feared the Thames's currents. The victims, mostly nameless, left no families to mourn publicly. But Elizabeth Jackson's sister pushed for answers, to no avail. The case, overshadowed by the Ripper, resurfaced in a 2019 book and 2022 podcast, urging DNA retesting, but no remains survive. The Thames, flowing past Parliament, carries a silent weight. Today, the Thames torso murders remain unsolved, with at least 4 victims and no justice served. London's Victorian fog has cleared, but the killer's blade lingers in memory. Was it a surgeon gone mad, a dockland phantom, or a shadow lost to time? The river's dark waters hold their secrets, a grisly enigma unclaimed by history. If you enjoyed this videos, follow me, like, share and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you.